All right. Welcome back to Footy with an Edge, guys. I'm Andy, and we're here again for another call-in show to figure out how Amorim can actually beat Chelsea at the weekend. I know it seems like such an ominous and vague question because does anybody really have the answer of how United are going to win the game? Um, Not just this game, just any game in general. I feel like with all the stats that are floating around with Amorim having 8 wins in the Premier League, and I saw a stat the other day comparing Thomas Frank to Ruben Amorim, right? Where he has 3 Premier League wins already, and he's only 5 away from beating Ruben Amorim's tally. So it's very difficult right now to see where a win comes from, but that's what we're here to talk about. What does he need to do to actually make this a W for us at home? Right? Can we beat this Chelsea team that's not the highest on confidence right now? They've just had a big loss at the in midweek against Bayern Munich, and I obviously analyzed that game as well. So what are some things that we can do to capitalize against this Chelsea team, and can we actually adapt to Amorim's system in a very positive way, so that we don't look like we're playing it for the first time every single game? So let's get some callers straight on the show. I think we have a previous caller from before joining us first. Hi there. You're live on Footy with an Edge. Come on, tell us your thoughts on the Chelsea game. What are you worried about, and what are some things Amarim can do to actually help us win this game?
First things first is I think goalkeeper's an issue right now. I think obviously Lemons is I don't think he's ready. Bender doesn't fill the back line with confidence. So I mean right now it'll probably be Bender, but
Hmm.
I hopefully by I see October, November time, I see Lemons starting hopefully. Like one or
Hmm.
two games here and there like that. Number two is obviously again Martinez is slowly returning back to fitness, so
Hmm.
number two is getting him back up to scratch. Going forward, I think our back line should be one of Euro, Delay, and that of Martinez. I think, I mean, obviously, Delay was captain of Ajax, and he's been in two great clubs in the form of, Inter and Bayern Munich, and in my opinion, he's actually been a steal with Mazraoui of 50 million. That experience and that domination, that height that he has, that some of our players that didn't have, and he has that pace that I mean, he's similar to Maguire in that sense,
Hmm.
but he's a huge upgrade in terms of pace.
Yeah.
I think that
Habil,
comparing player to player.
give us your overall thoughts though. Like, do you so let's start with how you think the game is gonna go. Do you have a score prediction for this game, and then let's walk backwards to see what your thoughts are for why that's gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think the best. Are we home or away for the game?
It's at home. It's at Old Trafford.
It's at home. I think it'll be a draw, 1-1. I think it'll be similar to the Arsenal game.
Hmm.
I do see like if we do win the game, I think it'll be like similar to Burnley where we just nick it at the end.
Hmm.
Chelsea are a good side. You see them against PSG, especially against the big teams. They do tend to turn up.
Hmm.
Noni Madueke is going to be a threat all throughout the game. You look at
Sorry,
the quality.
Madueke plays for
Sorry,
Arsenal
no,
now.
yeah,
Yeah.
sorry, yeah. Sorry, who was it? Neto, sorry, Pedro
Yeah.
Neto. He's going to be thing. Palmer,
Hmm.
if he's back by then, he'll be definitely someone to watch. And I think we have to start with the Casemiro Ugarte in this kind of match because Enzo Fernandez and Caicedo will be bullying Bruno Casemiro midfield too, in my opinion.
Okay. Interesting.
Um,
So you're saying it's going to be a score draw, and you're a little worried about I guess pretty much the whole team, right? There isn't
Physically.
there isn't one player right now that gives us a lot of confidence. And obviously, I have on the screen here is like the our best starting 11, but most likely it's going to be what, Ahmad in the 10 maybe, or do you think he sticks with Ahmad at right wing back?
I think I'm at a right wing back because I think Cunha will be out anyways. So I think we go with Bruno in the 10, see how that goes out. If it's clear that Ugarte Casemiro work out, we should try to play them, especially with Liverpool coming up soon. We should
Hmm.
give them a run of games together, see how that goes.
Hmm.
We play, obviously, Sesko will probably start anyways. But if we want to go defensive in terms of like if we don't start Sesko, I think Mbomo will go as striker. Ahmad will be the second 10 next to Bruno, and then or even a Mainoo might play the 10 role with Bruno, and then Ahmad a wing back. I could see that happening as well.
Got it. You said Mainoo in the 10?
Yeah, so if Sesko doesn't start, I think Mainoo has to start in the 10 with Bruno. Like I said the other day, Mainoo's best is when he's best closest to the opponent's box. And in the when we're playing the flat 5-4 in defense, he is quite good in terms of progressing the ball like Bruno Fernandes is in that sense. So I think in the 10, that's where we get his best like sort of game.
Yeah. No, that makes sense to me. I think Mainoo's definitely a hot button topic right now, and just give me 1 second. I'm going to make sure everybody knows where to join us. Link in description. Yeah, so I think Mainoo's definitely a hot button topic. People seem to think that putting him in where Bruno plays is going to solve all our defensive problems. But what they don't realize is that Mainoo's strengths are actually going
I
forward.
don't think he's going to
So
solve it. Yeah,
the
I don't
only
think
way
he's going to solve
Mainoo
it.
gets into this team and actually looks any good is if he plays in one of the 10 spots. So that was my prediction actually for the derby, is that he would play Mainoo in the 10 and keep Ahmad on the right. But obviously he didn't do that. So let's see what he does against Chelsea. I think there's a case to be made to have Mainoo in the 10. But I think overall, my thoughts on this game are that Amorim's problem right now is that he doesn't have the players to play the system he wants to play. And it's not a matter of one or two or three players. I think there's probably four or five players that he's missing, right? He's missing his two center midfielders. He's missing his right wing back that can, go do really well on the attack and defend a little bit. And then he's also Sheshko is not really built into the team yet, so we don't have that focal point that's really doing what we wanted to do. Like nobody was passing to Sheshko in the City game, and that was just like, what's the point of having
Yeah,
him
I
on the
mean,
field if you're not doing
I
that?
said this in comment sections as well, where I saw when I was doing a bit of work, so I only saw the first half and about the last 10 minutes of the second half, and I
Hmm.
saw more crosses to Joshua Zirkzee in the like the 80th 90 minutes in the last 10-15 minutes than I saw for the entire first half to Sesko, and I think that's where my frustration with people scapegoating Hoyland came, where people would scapegoat. Yeah, I'm not saying it was a finished product, but I mean, Eric Ten Hag sort of said this. He was inferring this. The season we got him, that winter window, the next summer where we got Xerxes, and that last winter, obviously he
Hmm.
obviously was gone by then. But even in his first season that winter, with Marshall in and out of the team, we only got without Weghorst obviously in that 6 months. And so I think Erik Ten Hag obviously identified this as a problem. The problem was that the board initially only went for Hoyland, and Erik Ten Hag knew that as a striker, especially in the striker department, you want so if you're getting someone young, you want a short-term striker, someone who will give them the tips and tricks. So as
Yeah.
when they leave, learn something to
Yeah.
carry
So
on.
Habil, I have a question for you. How many goals do you think Sheshko scores this season? And yeah, just give us your thoughts quickly, because I see a few other people waiting in the room, and I'll pull you back in later if there's time. But give us your quick thoughts on how many goals you think Šeško scores this season.
Age-wise, and the fact it's his first season. I mean, just in general, just 15 goals, assists in general would be decent return for him.
Yeah.
Considering the fact that he's just come from a league where we know that strikers do thingy.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I think that's fair, and I think that's reasonable as well. Habil, thank you so much for getting involved again. I'm gonna move you to the waiting room, and I'll pull you back in for sure towards the end, if time permits. But thank you for getting your thoughts in, and I appreciate you being a return caller on the show. All right. Let's get our next caller in. What did you guys think about Habil's thoughts? Get in the comments. And like I said, if you want to join the show and get your thoughts in, please join the Discord server and then join the waiting room. It's very simple. It should take you only 2 minutes to do. Let's get the next caller in. We have Dave's Gaming. Dave, you're live on Footy with an Edge. Where are you calling in from? And how long have you been supporting United before we get into today's topic?
How are we doing? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Excellent. I live about 16 miles away from Manchester, and I've supported them since I was 4 years old. So that would be 1984.
Wow. Okay, that's you've got some years on me, so there's no comparison there. But I am a little jealous, Dave, because you've got a lot more of the glory years than I've ever got to witness.
I have, and that's why it's been the most depressing. Last 10 years of my life has been the most depressing in football. But there is a silver lining, and getting onto your topic tonight, if we can jump straight in.
Yeah, let's do it. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on this game? How do you think we can actually win? And what are your concerns in general?
Well, I'm looking at your team lineup there. And I see a fundamental problem of Fernandes playing in the 8-6 role. And for some reason, Amorim, he keeps trying to shoehorn Fernandes and I'm not, Fernandes is our best player by far, and he has been for the last 2 or 3 seasons. He's a workhorse. He's never injured, plays almost every game. Fernandes is most effective when he plays in the 10 role. 100%. He's creative. He has the freedom to work his magic. When he's playing in central midfield, like Amorim keeps playing him, he goes missing. He leaves gaps because he's not that guy. In my opinion, he needs to start Mainoo in the 6 or 8, whatever number you want to call it, central midfield. Either alongside Casemiro, because Casemiro hasn't got the legs, as we know, or I would go as far to say put Mazraoui in the 6 role.
Okay.
Because he has got legs and he's an intelligent footballer. Put Ahmad on the right because obviously, well, actually no, because we're missing Cunha. So I'd say Ahmad probably plays in the right number 10. I'd stick Mbumo on the left. Well, shit.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's a tough one, isn't it?
Yeah, because
Dave,
you want Fernandes.
Let me try to see if I can propose something to you as a solution and get your reaction to it, right? I think you've hit on a lot of different problems that we have in the system. And I think the primary one that most people refer to is the fact that Bruno is not good enough defensively, or he doesn't have the legs to play in the midfield. Would you agree with that?
100%. He just goes missing as well because he tries to do everything.
Yeah. And so if I was to say that on evidence, we haven't seen that Mainoo is better than Fernandes at the things that we think Fernandes is not good at, what would your reaction be to that? Because I'll just give my spiel on it for 2 seconds. In my opinion, we haven't seen Mainoo be a really good defensive player, right? I think his strengths and skills that have been on display have been on the ball, that close control, how press resistant he is, and also he's got an eye for goal, right? So in many ways, when Ruben Amorim says that he's competing with Bruno in the system, can you at least see why he's making that comparison and he's not comparing Mainoo to Ugarte or Casemiro?
But I also would counter that with Mainoo isn't a natural fit for the number 10.
Yeah.
He you're correct with the ball control. When he came on against City, I thought he did really well. He controlled the ball.
Yeah, because he nutmegged somebody and then he ran through half of the pitch, right? So he has that game-changing ability on the ball, a little bit like we were trying to do with Frankie de Jong, right? When we were trying to get him under Erik ten Hag. That was the profile of player we were looking for, someone who can break systems and, you know, break defensive structures by taking on 2 or 3 players and making a difference, right? So that part, I'm totally on board with you. But I guess what I'm trying to say is when everyone says you should drop Bruno and play Mainoo instead of him in that position, I fear that we're going to see a lot of the same mistakes that we see from Bruno from Mainoo in that position. And then you know how it is with United now, right? We've become the banter club that everybody likes to make fun of. And we're going to get accused of ruining another young player when now we're getting accused of not building that young player by putting him in the team. And you know the likes of Carragher and all the other rival pundits are waiting there to just, you know, with waiting for us to make that mistake and ruin Mainoo, right? So that's the concern that I have. And like you said, you hit on a very good point, which is Mainoo isn't really cut out for the 10 either. So the question becomes like, are we trying to fit him into the team just because we want him to play? Or does he actually provide value beyond what Bruno does in that position?
I think he adds value beyond what Bruno does, because if Bruno's in the number 10, Bruno's the captain. So Bruno stays in the number 10 creative role. He can dictate to Mainoo, stay there. Stay where you are, move 10 yards that way, 10 yards that way, 10 yards that way, and that's your role. Break the lines with your passing and the ball control. If you put Mazraoui next to him, who again, very intelligent footballer, I think he'd do well in the number 6 role, because again, he was one of our better players at the weekend against City, although none of them really stood out. Playing Bruno in that 10 creative role, you allow him to do what he absolutely shines when he's there. The whole Mainoo competing with Bruno, I mean, Mainoo was injured for a while as well. And obviously when he broke onto the scene, he set the world on fire. He even got into the England squad at the Euros, which everyone was saying it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. He played in the final. Mainoo's confidence has to have been knocked from Ruben Amorim saying he's competing with Bruno, because it's not a natural competition role he's competing for. I won't say Mainoo is a number 10. He's a central midfielder, but he's more creative. He needs someone next to him that can control midfield. Ugarte is not that guy, or he hasn't been.
And to add to your point there, surely the only way Mainoo gets better at some of these things he's not good at is by getting game time. Right.
That's it, minutes.
So there's definitely a case to be made for what you're saying. And I guess I was just playing devil's advocate by saying, you know, that there are these gaps in his game. So how do we make sure that we're addressing the issues in the team without exposing Mainoo to a point where his confidence gets even lower than where it is now, right?
He needs a run. He needs a run of games, and we need to. I mean, Amorim needs to have. I mean, he's got the confidence to say, I am not changing this system, although I do think the system is fundamentally flawed at this moment in time, because we haven't got the players to play the system as a whole. He needs to have faith in the younger players, and B, I mean, look, he's got Bayindir in there, and Bayindir is a liability in every single game. He's got no confidence. He's got no box control. He doesn't. He backs away from strikers when he's one-on-one rather than making himself big and run at he puts his faith in Bayindir. I would go as far to say is we shouldn't have even got rid of Onana, although Onana has got mistakes in him as well. Yeah. I think Onana's a better keeper than Bayindir, but Amorim's got this thing where he's so stubborn. Mainoo needs minutes. Sesko needs minutes. I'd even put Lamens on at the weekend. Yeah. So I think your back 3. I mean, even Luke Shaw's he was shaky against the City team we faced at the weekend. But I think the problem
that's more to do with Haaland. That's more to do with Haaland just being too strong for him, right? And I don't think maybe Maguire's the only player that can go up against him in terms of strength and positioning.
The only thing I'd say with that, if Fernandes. I mean, Haaland, he's a goal machine. But that first goal from Phil Foden, Fernandes was at fault, and Phil Foden did this. Doku did this blinded little bit of magic and got past him and crossed it into the box. And
he lost Foden as the runner, right? That's what you're saying.
And that's where Bruno lets himself down, but he's not got that mindset because he is an attacking midfielder, a creative midfielder. So there's a lot of problems we've got, but I just think Amorim needs to just tweak things slightly. And the final criticism I will make of Amorim, he needs to be able to change mid-game. He's so stuck. We go into games, I guarantee you now, Chelsea will be looking at the weekend going, we know exactly how United are going to play. Doesn't matter who they play. They could change a couple of players, but we know what they're going to do, how they're going to do it, and they will counter that. João Pedro's going to be a massive problem at the weekend.
Yeah, I agree. Also Cole Palmer, if he plays Esteban,
Cole Palmer as well, yeah.
I'm going to be very honest with you. I'm actually shitting myself thinking about this game because people are thinking Chelsea has just lost to Bayern 3-1 and they've drawn a couple of games. They don't really have what it takes. But I'll tell you one thing. This team knows how to counterattack. And all Maresca needs to do is pull a page out of Pep's book. By the way, which is exactly what I called for in the preview for the City Derby. I was one of the only people on YouTube saying that he's going to sit back and counterattack. And guess what he did? He sat back and counterattacked. So if Maresca does... plays a similar game to what he played against Bayern, but just puts Palmer in the middle and puts two speedsters on the wing, which I'm afraid it's going to be Garnacho, one of them. I think they can even score 3-4 goals past us because the problem we have in the system, and I'm going to pull up a graphic that I wanted to show everybody. This is, if you can, I'm not sure if you can see my screen. If you're on YouTube, it's a little delayed.
Yeah, I can see.
Yeah. But on my screen, I have the average positions of the City team and the United team. And you'll see City was in basically a 4-3-3 with Silva tucking in a little bit. But look at the United system. I can't tell you what formation this is. It's like it's like a 3 and then 5 in the middle, and then
100%.
And Mbumo and Ahmad are holding hands, right?
Yep.
So we the problem we have is not... in my opinion, again, is I don't think the system itself is a problem. The problem is that the players are shitting themselves in learning the system, and they know the pressure that they have. There's so much fear of failure that the second something goes wrong, we end up with a system like this, right, where we're all over the place and we don't really know what we're doing. So I'm afraid against Chelsea the same thing is going to happen. And if the same thing keeps happening, then, Amorim's going to get the sack, regardless of who is to blame.
Yeah, I agree. And I think if we don't, we haven't won back-to-back games. I think it's for a year now, or nearly a year, which is outrageous. But it's not outrageous because it's United at this moment in time. It's the state of the whole club from top to bottom. I went into the City game quietly confident. I thought, we can at least nick a draw against this lot. If we play against these like we played against Arsenal. And I think we started off the first 10, 15, 20 minutes, even the first half. We had moments of play that didn't look bad. I think the key for us at the weekend will be Mbumo. I think once he gets off the mark, I know he scored against Grimsby, but we'll put that to one side.
Well, he also got a goal against Burnley at home.
Oh, sorry, Burnley. Yes, Burnley. I just think if he gets if he gets going properly, and I think just he's got to have trust in Sesko, not protect. I mean, look at Arsenal. They threw Gyökeres in straight away, and he's had a rocky start, and then he bagged a couple of goals. I think it was at the weekend just gone, or the weekend before. I can't remember now. Ekitike at Liverpool, just put them in, because the only way I know they might not be 100% fit. They need to learn this league. They need to learn how fast it is and how physical it is. They need to learn that fast. And if we're not careful, we'll see Højlund 2.0, who, by the way, is already off the market, Napoli.
No, I think that's a whole nother topic to discuss, because I'm so sick of everybody else rubbing it into United, being like, oh, look at what a shit show it is. And I could sit here and talk, we could do another call-in show just talking about that, because what people fail to realize is that barely anybody watches the Napoli games compared to what you have at United, right? If you watch the highlights for the game where Højlund scored, half of the stadium is empty. And you tell me
Yeah.
one game where Old Trafford has a single seat empty, right? So
There you
the
go.
pressure you have at United is just something different. So for someone to say, "Oh, look at Onana, he's got man of the match when he went to Turkey," like, come on, man. Like, did we force him to let the goals in against Grimsby,
No, this is
or
it.
did he just let him in himself, right?
He was throwing him in the back of the net every week.
Exactly. So, anyways, Dave, I really appreciate your thoughts.
No worries.
And what I'll do is I'll move you to the waiting room. I might pull in like a group of people more towards the end of the call. So if you have some time, please stick around. I'd love to get you back.
Yeah,
on.
yeah. No problem.
All right, let's get the new caller on. Dave with his thoughts here. Very nice call. Definitely somebody that knows what he's talking about. Much like most of you guys, right? Because we're here trying to figure out exactly what's going wrong and how we can improve it, and not just sit here and give reactions for clips. I think that's what I like about this community, and you guys have all made this happen. So let's get the next caller in. Hi there, you're live on Footy with an Edge. Go on, introduce yourself and tell us where you're calling from.
Hello? Audible?
Hey, yes, you are.
Yeah, sorry. This is the first time doing anything like this. So, yeah. Yeah, I'm calling in from India, actually. Yeah.
Which part
It's
of India?
very late, actually. Closer to, do you know Mumbai, I think?
Yes, I'm originally from Mumbai, by the way.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah. I'm calling from there. It's pretty late, actually. 11 p.m. So, yeah, I mean, I agree mostly with what Dave had to say, mainly with Kobbie specifically, starting in midfield. I think it's very
Yeah.
important for. Um, I think it's also in terms of profiling of the players as well. I don't think it's a system issue. I think the way that he's putting in players, like for example, Ahmad at right wing back, and I think Dogu is not that effective at left wing back. I think we have a few players who are playing in positions which they are not comfortable with. I think so.
Yeah. I have a question for you. I've heard from Dave, and I've also heard from Habil, and obviously we've also done 2 other call-in shows today, this week. What I'm hearing a lot of is almost everyone has given up on Casemiro in the midfield. And my counterpoint to that would be he's arguably been our most consistent midfielder this season. And to make of that what you will, because we've been not very good, through the midfield specifically. But arguably, he's our most experienced midfielder. He has the defensive nous to make it work. Yes, his legs have gone, but he's still a really good passer. And we compared some of his statistics in the previous call-in show, and I can pull it up again if I go to FBref here. He's been one of our best midfielders, and if you compare him across Europe, like if that was a profile of player that we were looking for right now, and he wasn't already at United, we'd be looking to sign this guy, right? So if I go into a scouting report here, let's look at his his defensive stats and possession stats. He's in the 99th percentile for tackles, right? Whether it's tackles attempted or tackles won. He's also in the 99th percentile for dribblers tackled, dribblers challenged, blocks, shots blocked, passes blocked, and tackles and interceptions. So by every metric, he is the best defensive midfielder out there. And even his possession stats are very good. So tell me a little bit about your opinions on Casemiro and this team. And do you actually think he has a position? Or like most other people, are you looking for like Mazraoui or maybe Ugarte or some other combination in the midfield?
No, I think I agree with what you have to say. I think one of the I think Amorim has done very well in terms of sort of protecting Casemiro in his system, because I think under Ten Hag, I think he was exposed, like he had a lot of space to cover. I think there was also a fitness issue. I feel like, I mean, there are reports that his fitness has improved, so he's performing a bit well. But I think he's done very well to at least profile Casemiro in the double pivot. I think, and I agree with you, because I think I would put Casemiro above Ugarte, like definitely, because
Yeah.
I don't rate Ugarte that much. And I think if we had someone who was sort of in between, like let's say, not as attacking as Bruno, and sort of Kobbie's role, sorry, Kobbie's profile, but if he had a bit more, coverage of like, if he could cover the wide regions when the wing backs go forward and stuff like that. I think
Yeah.
in that sense, I think we would have a good pair in there. But I think Casemiro is like, I think he's one of the first players on the team sheet. I don't know why he played Ugarte in against Man City.
Yeah, he
I
said
think it was
he
about like
basically
coverage or
said,
something, but I still
yeah, he
think
wanted more
Casemiro is
legs.
still like
He
miles
wanted
better than
more
Ugarte
legs,
in terms of
and
like defensive analysis, defensive responsibility. Yeah,
yeah,
I think he was
yeah,
spot
I
on that.
think interesting point about Ugarte in the City game. I think he said he wanted more legs, and I I I think Ugarte had a game of two halves because in the first half, he had a lot of defensive contributions. If you remember watching that game, actually, um, City were taking a lot of loose touches on the ball. I think Reinders had probably his
Mhm.
worst game in a City shirt. He took a lot of loose touches, loose passes. Um, Ugarte even dispossessed Rodri at one point, who's the Ballon d'Or winner, right? So
Yes.
we tend to forget that the good things that Ugarte does because this whole team is so bad right now that it you need to actually sit there and do a PhD to figure out the positives from any of these players. And that's kind of the problem we're in, right? Because Ugarte has a great first half and he's doing well for most of the time, but for the third goal, he miscontrols a pass, and then Maguire also makes a mistake,
Yes.
and they have an easy break, right? So I personally think
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think Casemiro should be one of the starting midfielders. Not that we should build a team around him, but he's probably the best actual midfielder that fits into this position right now. And next to him, it's up for debate whether Mainoo is the one that fits in. I think there is a chance for Mainoo to make it work, but personally, in my opinion, I think a midfield two of Ugarte and Casemiro makes more sense right now because we need so much defensive cover, right? That midfield needs Declan Rice and Moises Caicedo would struggle in that midfield because there's so much ground to cover and there's so
Mhm.
much work that needs to be done. So, in my opinion, I think Ugarte and Casemiro is probably the best pair. But if you want to put Mainoo in and figure out a system where the defenders cover for him a bit more, and the left wing back doesn't go up as much, and maybe you have Bruno playing in front of him, maybe it could work, right?
Mhm.
I'm open to seeing how it can
Yes.
work.
I think I think I think we definitely, regardless of who plays, I mean, even if it is like Casemiro and Ugarte, both of them, I think we still need a bit more protection for the two midfielders that we have, because I think we have the front three who, like, presses like crazy on the opposition back line. And I think we have wing backs who get pinned, or they sit deep. So it's like either of it. But also the two midfielders, they just have to cover a lot of space, which is, again, it is also like a personnel issue that maybe a Declan Rice would be able to do it a bit better. But also, you can't really put like two guys and expect them to cover the whole pitch. So I think it's a combination of both, where if the number 10s that we have, Fernandez, actually Fernandez in like number 10, I think he would be a bit better, because I think he presses a lot, because he's just like that, he just runs around. So
Yeah.
I think he would be better in the number 10, because he'll provide that energy up front. You don't want your like the basically your last line before your defense to just run around, basically.
Yeah, you're
So I
saying
think he'll be
you don't
better in
want Bruno
the
to leave his position. You want somebody in that
yes,
role to be more marking an area or staying in their position, and you want the other
yes,
players to kind of run around and press. I think you make some good points
yes.
here. By the way, I did we ever get your name? Did you introduce yourself? Give us a name and say hi to the folks that are watching.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I don't know if the chat would be able to pronounce my name. My name is Shaunak.
Shaunak?
So again, I'm from India. Yeah, Shaunak. Perfect. Yep.
Yeah, Shaunak. Yeah, that's I can say it, so that's all that matters. But
Yeah.
okay, that's awesome. And yeah, I think you make some good points. One thing that people are maybe not paying as much attention to about Bruno Fernandez is everybody talks about his weaknesses in that 8 role right next to Casemiro or part of that midfield, but not a lot of people
Yes.
talk specifically about what his strengths are that we're missing out on. If you guys remember, under Ollie, under Ten Hag, what Fernandez did really well was he had the positional flexibility to move all around the pitch. He would sometimes overlap on the left wing. He would sometimes be on the right wing. He would drop deep to pick up the ball. He could do a lot of stuff. But the problem that he has, and you mentioned something, which is how Bruno is off the ball, right? He's not allowed to press. But I think even on the ball, he's not allowed to move a lot because he has to maintain that position. Because the second we lose the ball and Bruno's out of position, then we have one midfielder defending 50 acres of the pitch, right? So
Yes.
the case for me, the strongest case to move Bruno out of his position is that look at what else he can provide if you played him in the 10. Not really so much to do with the defensive work, because like I mentioned, you're stuck between a rock and a hard place where either you have Kobbie Mainoo, who has arguably some of the same defensive errors that Bruno has, or you have Ugarte, who has, good defensively, but a horrible passer, right? So you can either get the passing or you get the defense. You can't get, everything that you want. And I guess that's why we were looking at somebody like a Baleba in the summer, which again, in my opinion, should we have sold Fernandez to get Baleba? Maybe, because the risk we have is then we have no leaders in the team, and the second we need a goal to be created again or a last minute penalty to be scored, who's doing that when Bruno's not in the team? And you know how the rival fans are, you know how social media is. Everybody would be making fun of us for selling Bruno and then finishing 16th again. So it's like you're damned if you do or damned if you don't with this club right now. Anyways, Shaunuk, thank you so much for joining the call today. I'll just move you to the waiting room, and like I said to Dave earlier, I really enjoyed this call. If you want to jump back in, I'll probably pull in a few of you guys in a minute or in a few minutes to have more of a group discussion about some things that I have on my mind. But thank you so much for joining, and please do join the call again. Please stay tuned to Discord for the fastest updates. But you can also look out for community posts for when we'll be live again.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks, man. All right, another great caller in Shaunuk. Guys, if you guys are watching, please drop a like on the video. If you have any other United fans that like this type of content, invite them to watch. Invite them to join in on the action. I usually have like 5, 6. I think the last call-in show we had 10 callers join. The first one we only had 3 callers join. Today we've already had 3 or 4. If you guys line up in queue, then I'm gonna have everybody on as much as possible, right? We still have a lot of time left in this show, probably another 30-40 minutes at least. So please join the Discord server and get your thoughts in, right? I really want to hear from you guys, and also like the video. Cool. Let's get the next guy in. Rishi, you're back for what is a record-breaking 3rd time on the show. How are you? And please introduce yourself to the viewers that are watching for the first time.
Hi, Andy. My name is Rishi. Am I audible?
Yes, you are. Where are you calling in from?
I'm calling from Mumbai.
Oh, wow. Very nice. Back-to-back.
Yeah.
Back-to-back Mumbai cars on the show. Very nice to hear from you again, Rishi.
Just like our man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was saying, just like our man, Shaunuk, he was concerned whether people in the chat would be able to pronounce his name. So
Yeah.
I have a good friend back in grad school whose name is also Shaunuk.
Nice.
It's not the same guy though.
Yeah. Well, you never know. Anyways, Rishi, so we've heard a lot of chatter. We've had a lot of discussions about the issues with United, and I think everybody watching it is pretty familiar with all the stuff that we've discussed here. Talk to me a little bit about the Chelsea team, right? What are you worried about? Who do you think the biggest threats are, and how do you think Maresca is going to approach this game?
I mean, who isn't a threat, right? The way we've been playing, and to their credit, even the way Chelsea's been playing, because Pedro's in good form, Palmer's in good form. Estevao has blazed his way into the Premier League. He's rapid, he's quick, he's someone, if I'm being fair, I would have loved to see him in the right wing back role in Amorim's system because Kenda, right, from Sporting, he's also that electric, quick, young guy who can deliver a good cross, who can
Who,
beat
by
a
the way,
couple of
has
people.
also joined Chelsea.
Who has also joined, should I say he's joined the Chelsea player trading company? Because I think
Yeah.
they've ceased to be a football team anymore.
Yeah, yeah. Well, if you add
But yeah,
Strasbourg
credit.
and all the other teams, they have like 500 players on the books right now.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me, the concerns right now, I'm just looking at our lineup and the lineup that you've put up for Chelsea over here. I think pretty much that's how they're going to start. Let's look at the weaknesses. Their forward line is quite good. I think they can give anyone a good game on their day. I think in the back line, their centre backs are highly vulnerable. I think we should have Sesko pinned in there between the two of them, pinning them back, try to stretch the space between the midfield and the back line. Because just going off the graphic that you had shown earlier, our positioning, right, our average positioning, I couldn't make head or tail of it. Sesko's average position was right at the center line, in the middle of the pitch. That's not where he should be. I want to see him, even if he's at the risk of, being offside. I don't want to see him anywhere near the center circle. I want to see him right near the box, even if they all abandon him and move halfway and the game is being played in our half. I don't care. I want him there and ready at playing at the last man's shoulder. That's what I want to see. Also, I want to move. If you could pull up, I don't know if you've done it on YouTube already, but if you could pull up the lineups, the mock lineups that you had up, I would want to move Torgu out of the lineup. I want to move someone like a Dalo over there, and I want to put. Sorry, I want to put Euro from right centre back to left centre back because I think he's the only one who has enough pace to deal with Estevao because Estevao is rapid.
Mm-hmm.
So I want, and Euro's played left centre back, so I want him there.
I wanna push back slightly on that. I think Estevao is one of those players that is almost quicker with the ball at his feet than he is, kicking the ball ahead. Right? He's not rapid in the sense that like Dan James was rapid or Marcus Rashford is rapid. He's more rapid like Neymar was rapid or Messi's rapid, right? Where they, if you put them in a pure foot race against a Haaland, they probably lose. But if you're running with the ball, they're probably beating Haaland, right? Or dribbling with the ball. So Estevao is more of that tricky, like, more reliant on his balance and movement, a bit like Eden Hazard. Than he is like the Dan James type of winger, right? So, but I do take your point. I think we need somebody who's got a slide tackle in him, who can actually, let Estevao do his tricks and then recover from it. And Euro is probably the right profile for that. But to be honest with you, I think he goes with Shaw in that system. So who do you think your right center back should be?
I'd play Mazraoui right now. If it was up to me, I would have had a fit Martinez at left centre back and Euro at right centre back. I don't want to. The reason I don't want to play Shaw or Ahmad or even Dorgu for that matter is because they have been poor in the last few games. Ahmad especially, and I want to start Dalo in place of Ahmad at right wing back. I know Dalo doesn't give us enough going forward, but what's Ahmad doing, right? I think he's only got one going for him right now, which is that when we are pressing high up, he can, hound the guy with the ball and he can force a turnover. I don't think he's got many more arrows in his quiver, in his wingback quiver, right? So I would rather have Dalo because in case he does something sneaky, Maresca does something sneaky and he starts Garnacho on the left wing, then I know at least Dalo's gonna be tough with him and he's gonna kick him in the shin and give him a tough time. So I want Dalo because I think he's more solid defensively. Left wing back, I think we can go with Dorgu right now because honestly, we don't have many options. That's one of the unfortunate things about this transfer window, that if someone does badly, you still don't have enough options, right?
Or
I want to
someone
play
gets injured,
Fernandez.
right?
I want to play
Or someone gets
right.
injured, like Cunha got injured, and what seemed to be the brightest spark in our team has suddenly become an over reliance on Mbumo, and now Mbumo's starting to look like, 10, 20, 30 million pound less than what we paid for him, because this is what typically happens historically in the United team. Every player that's brought in that's any good is named as the savior for this club, right? When Pogba had come in, we thought he was going to save the club and help us win leagues. When Ronaldo came in for his return, we thought this is how we're going to win the league. And when Sancho came in, this is how we're going to unlock the right wing problem. Every single player is built out to be the solution, and we end up over relying on them, or they end up being shit, and we've wasted all this money and time.
Yeah, and Andy, just to follow up on your point, ever since the time we bought Pogba and said that he's the savior of this team, we've always ignored the midfield. When we brought Sancho, we've ignored the midfield. When we brought Ronaldo back, we've ignored the midfield. When Ronaldo was playing here and we had spent 75 million on uh, Sancho and we had spent 40 million on Varane, guess who was starting the game in midfield? It was Fred and McTominay, neither of whom were
Yeah.
good enough to even wear the shirt. McTominay, maybe, yes, I'll give you that he had the passion. He's a youth player, but let's be honest, in the heydays of United, neither of these players get a sniff of first team action. And also going back to this point where you mentioned a little bit earlier on, if I could just counter what you said that you would have probably sold Bruno and brought in Baleba. Well, Mount
No,
and
I was saying that was an option. I wasn't saying we should have done that. I was talking about the positives and
fair enough,
negatives of
but
that decision. But
let's
yeah,
be
yeah,
let's be honest, a lot of people would have done it, right, in this fan base, and at a certain point, even I would have.
yeah,
But looking at it now, where Mount and Cunha are the two players who we thought would have been fit to play in the 10 role, well, both of them are injured. And if Amorim is sensible, then he says, okay, I have Bruno here, who is a natural fit. Let me play him there instead of playing Ahmad or shoehorning Ahmad in that position, which is what he did in the derby, and that's what cost us, right? And if you
yeah,
pull up your average position graphic again, if you pull up the average
yeah.
position graphic again against
I got it.
City, look at where Ahmad's position is. Ahmad is right there on the right wing, hugging Mbumo when he started in the left 10 position.
Yeah,
So they have a they have a saying in India. I'll just say it quickly. It says, "कुत्ते की पूंछ हमेशा टेढ़ी रहती है." It means that even if you take a dog's tail and you shove it in a pipe and pull it out after a year, it's still gonna curl up because a dog's tail is never straight. It's always curled up. You put someone like an Ahmad in that left wing position. He's never played that in his life. He's not
yeah.
familiar with that
I
part of the pitch.
think,
He's gonna transition to the right.
to be fair, the reason why I think this position is the way it is because Ahmad and Mbumo swapped a lot in the first half in their starting positions. Like Mbumo started on the right but moved to the left. And in the last 15 or 20 minutes, I think he had Ahmad play as a right wing back. That's why he has less. I think this average position is calculated based on the heat maps, right? But I take your point overall. He hasn't played a lot in that position and he doesn't really know what he should be doing there. So the end result is something that's suboptimal, right? Which is I'll hold Amorim accountable for something here. When I did my preview, I predicted that Bruno's going to stay in the 10, even though we are missing Cunha and Mount, because I said Amorim is stubborn and he wants to stick to a system, and he's talked repeatedly about why sticking to the system and playing the players in the same position is more valuable right now than just getting the win. Because he said he wants them to learn the system, he wants to grow in the system, but the second he has a chance to keep Ahmad in the right wing back spot, what does he do? He takes him out of there and he puts him in the left 10, and that makes him not very effective. In fact, once we went 3-0 down is when we created most of our chances, and that was with Ahmad being at right wing back, right? Most of our XG, if you remember that cutback that hit Mbumo's feet and went wide, that was like our highest XG chance in that game. And that was from Ahmad cutting the ball back into Mbumo. So in my opinion, if Amorim has a very big decision to make right now, which is, do you want to stick with Amad Diallo in the team? And if you do, you have to play him in the right wing back role. If you keep moving him around, then we're gonna lose what little he's even good at.
Yeah, you make total sense. I think I think he has to be decisive. I think Amorim has one of the biggest games of his United career so far. I think this game is even bigger than the Spurs game at the end of last season
Mm.
because all eyes are going to be on him, right? This is the point where the fans who said that it's okay or it's good that we are not in Europe, we don't have midweek games because we have a whole week to prepare for the next game. This is where all of that comes in. Chelsea's played late night on Wednesday, and we play on Saturday in the
Saturday.
afternoon, right? We
Yeah.
have an evening game, if I'm not wrong. Yeah,
Yeah.
Saturday afternoon. They have less than 2 days to recover, and we've had the whole week to recover because we also played on Saturday the last week, I think, or maybe it was a Sunday.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we've had more time, we've had more rest. Their top players all played 90 minutes, right? Palmer played the whole game. Caicedo and
Pedro
Fernandez
played the
also
whole game.
played.
Yeah.
Pedro
also
played the whole game.
Yeah.
Also, an interesting statistic that I saw online in one of the, I think it was a Premier League website. It says that Fernandez, that is Enzo Fernandez, leads the league in most runs into the box that ended in a shot.
Yeah.
So he
Yeah,
gets
because
in.
that's what
He's
he was
basically
doing.
Lampard at this point.
He was doing the same role in the Bayern game, right? When I analyzed that game, I don't know if you guys had a chance to check it out, but Enzo Fernandez was box crashing in that game, although he started as a 10. But if you go back and watch, I think either the Fulham game or one of the other games this season, he was man of the match because he kept making those runs beyond Palmer or beyond the 10 to get on the end of things, and he does that really well. And if he does that against United, we're gonna be cooked. We're gonna be toast. I'm telling you, I was worried about the City game that we were gonna lose big. I'm also worried about this game because I see Amorim being stubborn in the wrong ways sometimes, where he will stick to the system and he'll talk the way he wants to talk, but he won't try to focus on the simple things, like doing the simple things well. Because in my opinion, I'll talk about the Chelsea team a little bit, but Rishi, first I want to thank you for coming on the show. I see actually there was Rajat was waiting, I believe. Let me see. And if Rajat doesn't show up in a couple of minutes, I might just get Dave and Shaunak back on the show, and I want to get everyone's thoughts on the Chelsea team because I have some things to share. Okay, looks like Rajat is here. So Rishi, I'll let you go, but please stay in the waiting room. I want to call you back in a little bit later.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Andy.
All right, thank you so much, Rishi. All right, so I want to get one last caller on the show before we go to a more group discussion. Keep watching and keep trying to join the show. I can also pull you back in after the group discussion ends. But I really want to discuss Chelsea's weaknesses and how we can actually attack them. But first, let's talk to Rajat, who is coming on the show for the first time. Hey, Rajat, you're live on Footy with an Edge. Please introduce yourself and tell us where you're calling from.
Hey, I'm Rajat and I'm calling from Texas, USA.
Nice to meet you. So tell us, how long have you been supporting United?
About like 02.
Okay, so 23 years. So you've seen some of the good times. I see from your profile picture on Discord, it's Ronaldo, I think, right? From his first stint at United. So you have experienced some of what it feels the good of what it feels like to be a United fan. Tell us, what are your thoughts on this game? Let's start off with the score prediction. What do you think the score is going to be?
Chelsea game?
Yeah, the Chelsea game.
The Chelsea game depends on the formation that he uses and what sort of like tactical changes he'll make.
Do you think, are you saying he should move away from the 3-4-3?
Maybe not, but like try and adapt to the other teams.
Yeah, yeah. So tell me, what are you worried about in the Chelsea team? What is your biggest concern?
Probably like Neto and Estevao, and I guess now Garnacho, since he won a score against us.
Yeah, you know that guy's gonna give us the Sue celebration as well, right? He's I think
Yeah, or sitting
I
on the fence and all that. On
yeah.
yeah.
Do you think he gets booed at Old Trafford? And I want to get your thoughts in the comments as well. Drop it in the live chat. Do you think Garnacho's getting booed at Old Trafford? Because I know for myself, when he comes onto the pitch, I'm going to be booing from my chair, because there's very few players that enrage me as much as Garnacho has, with the little shit show of a social media user that he is, and his brother as well. But I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you think he's getting booed? And are you worried? How worried are you that he's going to score?
Uh, I would probably boo him, though he used to be like my top two players at Man U that I used to like.
Yeah.
Well, on this current team.
Right.
But
Right.
yeah, I
Yeah.
still probably boo him, and I think the fans will also
fans will
boo
boo.
from Old
Yeah.
Trafford.
Yeah.
Uh,
And that's
this
very
is my
rare,
take.
because yeah, we United fans are some of the best in the world. Like, everybody knows this. Even rival fans talk about this. It's very rare that we would boo a former player, but the way Garnacho's conducted himself, he deserves it as well. And I used to think Sancho's the worst thing that's ever happened to this club, and now Garnacho has tied for first place, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, cool. What did you say your score prediction was, Rajat, before I get the next
Score
caller in?
prediction, let's go with 2-2 draw.
2-2 draw?
Against Chelsea, they usually end up being draws, no? And
Yeah.
that's a safe bet. 2-2 per
Yeah.
draw.
Fair enough.
Lock
Fair
that
enough.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good prediction. I think that's fair. I think it's, if we get a win in this game, I'm going to be celebrating it like we won the Champions League final, because it just feels like it's been so long since we've had any positives. And as I'm sure you can understand, everybody that's watching too, as a content creator, it's a lot easier to make videos when we've actually won. And most of the videos I've made have been after losses or draws. So, give me something to celebrate as well.
You think Licha is returning? Or like,
I don't think it's gonna happen, because he is still, yeah, I think he's still gonna take a few more games before he's actually thrown into the mix. Maybe he could come off the bench.
Like that, he's not fully game ready. Also, he's been
Yeah.
out with the, I think,
Exactly.
knee issue. Like,
Yeah.
since
Exactly.
like I don't know, it's been about half a year now,
Yeah.
or
Exactly.
something like that. Yeah.
Anyways,
what was
Rajat,
your prediction?
yeah,
Oh.
I'll give my prediction
Oh, no.
towards the end of the show, so that everyone can actually catch on to it. But thank you so much for coming on, Rajat. I did really enjoy the call, and I think you're right. I think Garnacho deserves to get booed, and hopefully he does, and hopefully he doesn't score, and he can start posting Martin Luther King videos about freedom in the future.
True.
But anyways, thanks a lot, Rajat, and I'll catch you again on the show sometime.
Okay, sure. Got it. Yeah.
Thank you. See ya. All right, looks like we have a few people waiting. Dave and Shaunuk, I'm sorry to keep you guys waiting a bit more, but we have a few first-time callers, so I'm going to get them in real quick. I see Asteroid Wave here. Hey, you're live on Footy with an Edge. Go on, introduce yourself and tell us where you're calling from. Hello? Hey, if you're watching on YouTube on your phone and trying to join with Discord on your phone, that might be the issue. But please try to say yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. So hi, how are you?
I'm well, thanks. So introduce yourself. Where are you calling from?
So my name is Brian, and I'm calling from Kenya, Nairobi.
Oh, very nice, very nice. We have our first caller from Kenya, guys. Please say hi to Brian in the channel. You said Brian, right? Did I get your name right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
We have Brian from Kenya. So tell us, Brian, what are your thoughts on this game? What's your score prediction, and how do you think it's going to go?
So my score prediction is going to err on the side of Chelsea. So I'm thinking 2-1 or even 3-1, maybe. Yeah, so I'm a bit worried because of our wingers, or maybe fullbacks, Dogu, Mazraoui, and Shaw. I don't think they're going to have a very good game against Neto, even João Pedro, and Reece James. Now that he's fit, his injury record has gone down a bit. So I think we're going to have a very difficult game.
Yeah. And so you're worried about our wingers, or you're worried about their wingers?
I'm worried about our wingers, the way they're not going to perform as best against their wingers. And now Garnacho and Estevao they can have a good game against us. And now, especially Garnacho, the time he's coming for a bit of vengeance, if I might say that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Not sure how much vengeance he can actually put to use, but I agree with you. The way United has just become the banter club for everybody to make fun of, it would be so fitting that, you know, Garnacho scores a goal or provides an assist or does something decisive in this game. And definitely, if I was Maresca, I'd be looking to start Garnacho in this game. But let's see. I mean, I'm actually more worried, if you ask me, about Neto and Estevao and the other wingers they have, because we know what Garnacho can do, and all of these players have trained against Garnacho for a long time as well. So I think Mazraoui or Yoro or whoever plays in that right wing back role and the right center back role will probably do a decent job against Garnacho. But if you have someone like Neto who has that explosive pace and that dribbling, I'm more worried about someone like that. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. And it's just like I think you said in a previous call that right now, if Maresca chooses to just sit back and wait for us on the counter-attack, just like Man City did, we're going to have a very difficult time, because with that pace and the way Amorim sets us up to play through the wings, but we're not crossing any balls to our 75 million pound striker. Once they get the turnover on us, that's going to be it. So they have the pace, they have the quality. Palma yesterday when he scored against Bayern, that was a very good goal. Yeah, just one touch, and that's it. I don't think we can't compete with that quality right now.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And I'm gonna share my thoughts on the Chelsea team now, because obviously we've had a stretch of the call, and I want to get your reaction to it, and then I'll get one more caller in before I go to the group setting. But if you guys are still watching, this is my biggest concern, right? There's one on the one side what Chelsea can do to harm us, and we've kind of talked about that in this video. On the other side, I think there's a few things that we can exploit in this Chelsea team. And if you guys want to take a look at the screen here, I've highlighted this area in the back, which is their back four and Fernandes and Caicedo. For as good as Caicedo is in terms of his physicality, in terms of his passing, he is really, let's say, one of the best all-round midfielders. The gaps in his game that I've seen this season is that he is a little hesitant with his passing, and he seems a little less press resistant than he used to be. And I say that because if you watch yesterday's game against Bayern, there were 3 defensive mistakes that led to the goals. The first one was João Pedro defending against Elise on a corner, and that was a retaken corner. And okay, you could say that could happen to any team. But the second and third goal, the second one was a penalty conceded by Caicedo because, again, he was nervous with the build-up play that they had from the back, right? So Sanchez, Tosin, Chalobah, Gusto, and Cucurella, they don't seem to be as assured on the ball as you would expect from a Chelsea team that has, you know, the amount of money that they've spent on these players. And because of that, Caicedo and Caicedo's partner, yesterday it was Reece James, against us it could be Fernandes, they seem to also be a little nervous in the build-up. So our best bet to win this game, and this is pretty much the only way I see United winning this game, is if we start pressing like a crazy heavy metal Klopp team. The only way I see us having any chance is on the build-up, trying to disrupt this team as much as possible. So that means having whoever's playing in the left hand, let's say it's Bruno or Ahmad or whoever he plays, just pressing the hell out of the fullback, the center back on both sides, and also not allowing these guys to receive the ball. Because then what you're doing is you're forcing Palmer to drop deeper, and you're forcing one of the wingers to provide support. And that means either they are stuck within their own half trying to build up the ball, or they make mistakes and we get an easy shot on goal. I think that is our best chance to win this game. What is your immediate reaction to that, Brian?
I think that's a good plan. Though what I'm worried most about is the second balls. So maybe we might press them with some very good high energy, especially I think the last few games, the first 15 minutes we've been very good. With Man City, we've been good. With Arsenal, we were good the entire game. Just the one goal that we didn't score. And also Fulham, I think the first 20 minutes we were really good. So I think they might suck in the pressure. And again, because we don't have any creative outlets with, if he decides to play Fernandes on a deeper role. So you've put Mainoo as in the midfield. When he does that, then we don't have any creative output on the front. And I think I saw a stat yesterday that Fernandes, even with the way we're playing right now, he's the one that has the most created chances. Over the past 5 years, I think he's had like 714 chances. So our one person who can create something, we're putting him in a position where he can't. He's just going to spray long passes or passes across the field, which is not going to create a lot. We're just hoping for Mbeumo to do something, or even Mainoo, or maybe Ahmad, which right now he's not playing as good as he did last season.
Yeah.
So that might be a good tactic, although I'd say Chelsea might sit back, especially with Caicedo and Fernandes, which I'm saying he's going to play both of them, and then he's going to put in Reece James later on, maybe the second half. But when he does that, the midfield is packed, and we don't have the ability to break down teams very well. And again, we don't have that intricate passing where we create maybe different triangles on the right side or the left-hand side of the pitch, such that we're going to break down Chelsea in a very meaningful way.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to work as much. We're going to get tired in the second half, and maybe that's why we're going to lose, because we drop off in the second half because we've used a lot of energy pressing them.
Yeah. That makes total sense. I think you raised some very valid points, and I think the part of the issue is what I mentioned. I said one of the only ways I think we're going to win against this team is by pressing high and causing defensive mistakes. But that's also one of our weaknesses, which is when we try to press, we lose our shape, and that leads to counterattacking goals like we had against City, right? Because we're not very good at maintaining our compactness when we leave our position to go press other players. Anyways, Brian, thank you so much for getting your thoughts in. I'm going to get the next caller on. Really appreciate your time, and I hope you can come back to join another show.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, that was Brian from Kenya joining us. We're going to get one more caller in. I think this is Nonstop Mission. He has been a big contributor to these live streams, so it's only fair that we get him on. Hey, Nonstop, how are you? You're live on Footy with an Edge. Please introduce yourself again and tell us where you're calling from.
Hello, I am Harry from Tanzania.
Oh, you've called in before.
Fan.
Yeah, you called in the previous call. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. The game, I see you're talking about the game for Chelsea and Man United, right?
Yes, correct.
Wanted to first about predictions, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, if you can give us what you think is going to happen in this game. I'm assuming you think Chelsea's going to do pretty well. What is your score prediction?
Actually, about that, there's a way in which United, like, they really turn up against us. So it might be a win or a draw for you guys. So I'm not entirely sure, but it might be a win or
you're
draw
not
for
confident. So you're not confident.
Yeah, exactly. Because whenever I am confident about you guys winning against you guys always find a way to get through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but Harry, I think you need to also realize that this is the worst United has ever been, right? And we are terribly low on confidence, and it seems very difficult. But Rishi makes a good point in the chat. What are you worried about? What are you worried about in this team? How do you think United can actually cause problems for Chelsea?
Actually, United have this tendency, which, how should I say, they use a lot of energy within the first like 15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah,
that is when they are at their most dangerous. As you could see, even some of the previous matches, like
yes,
they
correct.
are very up for it. But as time goes on, because United are not very disciplined when they are pressing, i.e., like for example, Bruno is not very disciplined when he's pressing, so they keep losing their shape. So that makes sure that the team starts to become off balance, and it starts to become, well, as you say, a basketball match once you start losing your energy. Yeah. So that's
so you
the
think
most
we could
dangerous
cause you think we could cause problems in the first 15-20 minutes? So you're worried if we get a goal or two in the first 20 minutes, that could be a problem.
Exactly. The first minutes of the first half and the first minutes of the second half. That's when you'll be the most dangerous.
Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna be honest with you, Harry. And I mean this on behalf of all the United fans that are watching right now or have been in this show. I think you're the only person to give us some positive today about United, because I think you are right. We are probably our best football is played in the first 10, 15, 20 minutes of each half. And so far we have failed to capitalize on our fast starts. And if we get a game where we are able to capitalize on it, it could be difficult for Chelsea. And I think you make a very good point. Hello? Harry, are you there? Okay, looks like Harry's having some technical issues. Harry, I'll pull you back in a little later, and I'll get the folks that have been waiting to join in on the group discussion, and I want to get you guys' thoughts in. Dave, Rishi, and Shaunuk. All right, so we have three of you on the call at the same time. Let's try to not talk over each other as much as possible. Obviously, I'll try to moderate in my best possible capability. But I want your guys' thoughts. Thank you guys for being patient and sticking around. How do you actually think we can win this game? Do you guys agree with my assessment of us having to press up high and that being one of the only ways we can actually win this, or do you see some other avenue for us to win? And I'll throw it over to Dave first to get us started.
Yep, I think shock and awe, just go at them off first whistle, smash a few players, and just get the ball up the field. And I think if you rattle them, if you show them that we're there and we mean business, I think we've got let's say the best record against Chelsea. But I think last season, or especially the season before, when I've forgotten his name, who manages the USA team now,
Pochettino.
Yes, I think we had a couple of good games, if not good results against him. So I think we can snatch a result, but we've got to just go at them from the first whistle.
Yeah, that's totally fair. Shaunuk, give us your thoughts next.
I think Dave. I agree with Dave because I think we in the first 15 minutes we have been very aggressive in all the games in the first 4 games that we have had. I think we need to capitalize on the aggressiveness. We need to score 1 goal, 2 goal. We need to get the mental advantage that we have a goal or two to fall back on, and also we need to you mentioned you watched the Bayern game. I think Bayern moved around Chelsea's defense like a lot. There were a lot of gaps. I think in the second half there was a chance in which the complete midfield defense was split apart, and I think Reece James was playing in midfield that time. Maybe that has an effect on it. But also I think Bayern moved around the defense of Chelsea all over the pitch. I think Chelsea, I think they are there to be gotten at. I said the same thing about Man City as well, but again, I'm trying to be optimistic here. So I think I agree with Dave. I think we need energy, first 15-20 minutes, just go into them.
I'll just add one quick thing before we jump to Rishi here. What Bayern did really well was Gnabry and Kane were both dropping deep from central positions, trying to pull Chelsea's midfielders with them. And then you actually had Leimer playing very high up. Leimer, Stanisic, their defenders were actually overlapping to get into the advanced midfield areas. And that was causing problems for Chelsea. But the biggest thing that I saw was all of their defensive mistakes came from the press. So if I was Amorim, I would be watching that game like a hawk. In all of the build-up this week, I wouldn't be surprised if he was showing them the Bayern game to showcase, look at how they've broken them down, and also some of the Brentford game, right? Because to be very honest with you, as sad as this sounds, a draw for us is not a bad result in this game. Because despite us only having 4 points after 4 games, we'll be on 5 points after 5 games. It's still something to cling on to. If we lose this game and if it's another 3-0, I think it's going to be a very difficult situation. Rishi, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think everyone made some good points. And when I look at this, the last lineup, the Chelsea lineup that played against Bayern, I think let's be honest, they don't have really good centre backs. Even Maresca wanted more centre backs. He had one good fit centre back, that was Levi Colwill, and he got injured. I rate Gusto very highly going forward, but defensively not so much. Cucurella and Caicedo would be the 2 good defensive players that I would say. Fernandes, let's be honest, is not the greatest while defending. He's brilliant going forward.
He's good on the ball. He's good in possession. He's good in possession, but not really a defensive player. I agree.
Yeah, I think like I said earlier, Sesko really has to pin their centre backs. I don't think we can do what Bayern did. I think Kompany was also playing to his strengths, right? Because Kane isn't the fastest player, right? So, but he's really good dropping into the hole, going further back. So he was using that to draw the midfielders in so that he could create space. But I think the best thing we can do is kind of target the centre backs because they are very vulnerable. And I think in terms of the press, if we can teach them a coordinated press and use the fact that we are really good in the first 15 minutes, give it everything for the first 15 minutes and then kind of slow the game down, kind of draw them, make them hungry for the ball in the first 15 minutes and then pull them back so that then we can hit them on the counter. I think that's how the rhythm of the game should be.
Yeah, I think you make a very good point, and I would agree with you. And what everyone has said. I think our best bet is to use the positives that it took a Chelsea fan to join the chat to point out that is actually something that we've been doing well. But I think we have to use those positives and make something happen early on in the game. I want to throw a question for you guys, right? There's 3 things that I am actually worried about in this game. And I think they are to do with Bruno and where he plays, and our wingbacks, right? So Dorgu and Ahmad. Do you think, we've spent a whole show talking about why Ahmad is good on the right as the right wing back, and that's probably the only position he can play, and he's going to be very good in the press. But are you worried about Neto and Cucurella and Palmer exploiting the right side of our pitch, defensively speaking? And are we going to make up for the fact that both Dorgu and Ahmad are very good going forward and not necessarily defensively, their biggest strengths? So Fernandez and the wingbacks, are you worried about those two areas?
Everyone.
Dave, get us started.
I'll jump in. I don't think that'll be the case because you've got Mbeumo on that side as well in that 10 role, so he's going to be occupied. Caicedo's going to be having his eye on Mbeumo because if he gets past Caicedo, like one of the guys said, their defensive line's not the best. So I think Mbeumo's going to be like the key ingredient there, because if him and Ahmad can do the crossover, they can drag defenders out of position as well. Dorgu getting forward, he needs to work on his crossing, man. He had a shocker at the weekend. He started off really brightly, and I just think, Yoro won't play on that side. He'll play on the right-hand side of the three, I think.
Yeah.
Because he's obviously got the pace, so I think he can be there as backup. He made a few mistakes again against City, but I think he was one of our brightest players on the pitch, and he's been one of our brightest sparks this season so far.
He's arguably the only thing that's going well with this team, by the way.
Yes.
Yoro, being a young center back, adapting to the Premier League, playing in this shit team, is actually doing well. It needs to be studied. I swear, this guy has got the cojones of 10 Rios, because
he's a Rio Ferdinand in the making.
No, also, but Rio came into a good team, and he had other people looking out for him. Yoro is being thrown in the deep end, and he's arguably our most consistent player. So I just have to give that shout out real quick. But I see what you're saying, Dave. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you hit the nail on the head. I think Yoro will hopefully won't get too twisted inside out, let's say, and I think he'll be able to clean up if Neto and that side gets sort of exploited. So I think Ahmad, he's lost a bit of his hunger, it seems. I don't know. He seems to be, last couple of games, he seems to have been missing something, but hopefully, again, if we just hit him from the start, a good 15, 20 minutes of non-stop press, shock them, make them think twice, I think we could snatch something from the game. I'm throwing it out there now. I'm going to go with a 2-1 win just because I'm an optimist.
Let's go, Dave. We need some of that. It's getting a little drab supporting United, but at least one of us so far. We'll see what my prediction is towards the end of the call, but at least one of us out of the four here are being optimistic. Okay, Shauna, give us your thoughts. Are you worried about the wingbacks? Are you worried about our defensive frailties? Yeah, let us know.
In terms of wingbacks, I think we have to play Ahmad. I think you cannot play Mazraoui or Dal. I think Dalo is injured, but I think you cannot play Mazraoui and Ahmad at like number 10. I think we have like 4 points from like 4 games. I think we need to go on the front foot in this game, and I think Ahmad has to play right wing back. I'm worried defensively. I think I'm not that worried, in transition maybe. I'm more worried like how, for example, City exploited us in our in a defensive shape. It wasn't as if they were countering, but like the first goal, it was mainly that they basically broke us down. So I'm more worried in terms of that, and I think we need to go on the front foot like first 15-20 minutes, as I think everyone has said. And I think we do need to learn a bit more of like game management. I think if the game is not going your way, I think some experienced players, maybe Casemiro or Bruno or whoever, they need to lower the tempo, just play the game at the pace it is, and for like next 10 minutes, and then you can up the tempo again. So I think if we can do that like to an acceptable level, I think we'll get a decent result. I'm trying to be optimistic. I think 2-1. I think my brain is saying like 1-1 draw, which would be horrendous, but like I'm trying to be optimistic, like 2-1. I think Mbeumo, I think he's been amazing. I think that one shot that he had against Man City, amazing. So I think I'm being hopeful here. But yeah, 2-1 from my side at least.
Yeah, again, I appreciate the optimism, and I definitely will not say no to that. And I think we need to find a way to win this game, right? I think this game, more than any other, is very important for Amorim to win because I think you guys can appreciate this analogy about a witch hunt, right? It doesn't matter if you're actually a witch. All that matters is that the town believes that you're a witch, and then they will hunt you down, right? So with Amorim, in this situation, it doesn't matter if he's a good coach or a bad coach. If everybody in the media and all the fans believe he's not good enough, then he will get the sack, right? Unfortunately, that's how it works. So my message to Amorim for this game is we have to just find a way to win. I think every single one of us that's watching or even on this call right now would agree that if we get the 3 points and it's a scrappy 2-1 win, we're going to take that to the bank, right? So Rishi, let's get your thoughts in. I think Dave and Shaunak have done a good job of covering the wingback issues. I want to discuss a little bit of a hot topic with you because I feel like everybody talks about Ahmad being in his best position and we should play him further forward and the thing he's good at is attacking. But what people fail to realize is some of his best games have come in the wingback position. And putting him in the 10 actually makes him look like crap, like he did against Grimsby. He started in the 10 position and he did nothing against a 4th-tier squad. If you look here as well on the screen, I have his most frequent positions, and you can see his highest rating by far is at the wingback position at 7.7, according to a Football Critic. So Rishi, give us your thoughts on Amad Diallo and why he seems like yet another square peg in a round hole that we're trying to fit into the team.
I think, first of all, if you understand the Amorim system, his system does not have wing backs or defensive-minded players on the wings per se. He has wingers playing at wing back, right? It's an ultra-attacking system if you actually deep it. And it's no surprise that Ahmad has done some of his best work there because last season also, all of his goals and assists came from the wing back position. He was played in the cam position, but he had poor or underwhelming games in each of those games. So I wasn't surprised that he had a bad game at Grimsby or that he had a bad game at City, because he's not good at the things that a cam is supposed to do. He can't drop deep and carry the ball like Cunha can. He cannot stretch the defense like Mbeumo can. What he's good at is being that free extra man and kind of hounding the player on the ball, which is why I said that we have a good shot at attacking their centre backs. If Ahmad is allowed to go and attack that centre back as he brings the ball out, you've got the right centre back covering Ahmad on the right half space or the left half space for Chelsea. So he's free to go and attack that player, and he can hound him and create a turnover very high in their third. So those are his best attributes, and I think Ahmad, when he's on the game, he does that brilliantly. But unfortunately, ever since he signed that new contract, he's not impressed at all. He has not impressed at all, and it's one of those things where you're sad to see it as a United fan, right? That he's the guy when he was signed at the age of 18. Fabrizio Romano, who's obviously he's Italian and he follows Serie A pretty closely, had played 200 minutes in Serie A, I think 200 or 300 minutes. He said Amad Diallo is one to watch. You know what other player he singled out as one to watch when he was very young and playing in an inferior league was Kvicha Kvaratskhelia before he moved to Napoli.
Yeah.
He's a guy who has an eye for talent, and he said Amad is a special player, and when he was not getting games, he said everyone in Italy is wondering why Amad's not getting these games because he's someone special. We've seen him from a young age. And now that he's actually found a good position that works for him, and let's face it, right wing back is his best position. That's where he's done his best work. That's where he's got all his goals. He turned the game around against Southampton last season, right? From 1-0 down in the last 10 minutes, he scored 3 goals. I think it was the first hat-trick that a United player had scored in the league. Robin van Persie, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, I think that's right. And one thing I want to point out about Ahmad and his ceiling, When you spoke to any Atalanta player, when he was in the academy or playing for the youth teams, they were calling him the new Messi, right, in training. And I know it's maybe a little tongue in cheek, or a lot of players get hyped up like that. But what I've seen from him, in terms of his best attributes, is he's really good at arriving onto somebody who has the ball, right? So if Caicedo in possession is about to take a loose touch, you want someone like Ahmad attacking him to get the ball from him. He's really good at pressing. And that's what Amorim wants from his right wing back. The problem Ahmad has is that he's not creative enough. He doesn't have the pace, and probably doesn't have the physicality either to play in that 10 spot really well. And, flatly speaking, Mbumo is a much better 10 than Ahmad is. Nobody would disagree with that, right? Yeah, cool. Thank you so much for your thoughts on that, Rishi. Really quickly, Rishi, give us your score prediction, and then I'll give mine, and we can probably adjourn the call here.
I was actually going to go for a draw, but then Harry, the Chelsea fan, came on and he roused all of our spirits. So I think I'm going to go for a win. I think it'll be a 2-1. Maybe we'll go 2-0 up and we might concede in the 70th or 80th minute. I think Chelsea is going to be sluggish because they have, they've just played a game. It was physically draining against Bayern. It was a loud game. It was an away game. I think they're going to be tired, and Maresca is not the greatest as rotating. So I feel that they're going to be a tired team, and we might make it 2-0. You might be pleasantly surprised. I think we'll make it 2-0 in the first 25 minutes.
Yeah. No, I think that's a great point. I'm gonna cheat a little bit in giving my predictions, because I think there's two ways this game can go. One is Chelsea have a defensive nightmare and we end up capitalizing on it and somehow, scoring a few goals and we win this game. And in that scenario, I actually think a 2-0 or 3-1 or 2-1 is possible. But the thing I'm worried about is that we're going to have more of, I think all of our players are going to be up for it. I'm not worried about that. I think everyone is sick of, if I was in that dressing room, I would be sick of the toxicity that I'm getting from all the players. And I think everybody's going to be on it and they're going to be there for a smash and grab in the first 20 minutes. But I'm worried that something happens, like a red card or, a double yellow from one of our team, or we play really well and we don't score and then we end up conceding. So my prediction for this game, sadly, is actually a 2-1 loss. I think we're going to lose this game, and we're in for a lot more pain before we actually see an upward tick. And my worry for Amorim is that I don't know if what's it called? I don't know if we can all stay calm and composed for 5-10 more games where we either draw or lose, right, throughout the season. I think Amorim probably is in trouble a lot sooner than we think, and I think we're going to lose this game. But hopefully I'm wrong, because all it takes is Palmer to do one bit of brilliance to run through the whole team and score the goal. You guys saw that goal against Bayern. He could do that 10 times a game against us, and I'm just worried about that.
Andy, let me put it this way. Remember under Oli, whenever his job was under threat, the players just seemed to pull something out of the bag, right? It was like they were fighting for him and they wanted to keep him in the job because things were so rosy under him, right? Let's say that Amorim is something similar. Tomorrow we'll find out whether the players are going to dig deep for him, because I don't think he's ever been under the cosh before this point, right? It was always in the first season when he came in, okay, he's coming halfway. There's no way they're going to sack him now without giving him a full transfer window, right? Now they have given him the transfer window. And now they realize that, oh, we've not really delivered our best. And now Jim Ratcliffe has come on and he said things like, with the squad that we've got, we should be getting into Europe. And there are news in the media saying that he has 3 games to prove his worth, right? Brentford, Chelsea, and Sunderland. I think the players now realize that, oh, this dude is seriously in trouble now. And seeing how they've not even spared the director of football, they might not spare the manager. And they've been ruthless with someone like Rashford, who's supposed to be the golden boy, right? So doesn't matter if I've come in and I'm on a juicy contract and they've just signed me. If I don't deliver now, Next manager comes in, he doesn't fancy me, he plays counter attacking, he starts getting results, my place is in danger. So, let's look at it even as something like players looking out for themselves selfishly. I think some sort of herd mentality and some sort of pride is going to kick in tomorrow, and that is going to cause these players to step up. And I think Amorim will be safe till the next international window.
Rishi, I'd like to say I want to drink a sip of whatever you're drinking right now, because that sounds like a very optimistic picture. I'll point to the fact, and last thing I'll say, I'll point to the fact that under Ollie, we have to remember that we were a counter-attacking team. We thrived on counterattacks, and that was the way that we pulled a rabbit out of a hat, right? I remember exactly the games you're talking about. You're talking about, I think we had 2 games back-to-back against City and Tottenham, and maybe both of them were even away, and there was reports in the news saying that Ollie has to win these games to save his job, and we went and won both those games. And it was at the Etihad. I remember that clearly. But the problem I have now is Amorim tends to not want to sacrifice on his possession football. He still wants to keep most of the possession. And as we saw yesterday for Chelsea, they can definitely play off the ball, right? They can play counterattacking football. Now, I wish that we win this game, but my prediction is that I actually think we're going to lose. But anyways, guys, I really appreciate your time. I promise if you guys come back for the next call-in show, I think I'm probably going to have it be Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays as the schedule for the call-in show, so 3 times a week. Please stay tuned to Discord, and I'll keep posting posting more information about when we'll do it, what the topics will be, etc. I really enjoyed having you guys on. Dave, you absolutely smashed it. Rishi as well. Shaunuk, you guys did a really good job. Thank you so much for your thoughts, and hope we get a win at the weekend, and hope to see you guys again on the call.
No worries. Thank you very much. See you later.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Yeah, have a good one.
All right. So that's the show for today, guys. Give your score predictions in the comments down below. I really hope we can win, but I'm not very optimistic.